Hello, my name is Noah Elman, and I am so excited and honored to be returning to direct Strawdog's annual production of Hershel and the Hanukkah Goblins for a second year. Every Hanukkah, when my family would pull out the menorahs, the dreidels, and all of the decorations, this book would come out and take its proud place on the shelf. I was always engrossed with the terrifying goblins and giggled when they failed. I remember staring at the picture of the king of the goblins for hours. No surprise at my love of horror now. And even when it went away at the end of the season, Eric Kimmel's The Adventures of Hershel of Ostropol was on my shelf year-round. Growing up, it was important to my mom that I connect these stories with my own family stories. My mom grew up in Israel, and I often visited family there, but our history, like many Jews living in Israel, was a short one. My grandfather was from Hungary, my great-grandparents Russia, and they grew up in the shtetls that Hershel travels between in these stories. Directing this show last year was not only an opportunity to celebrate those that came before me, but also to be part of continuing the passing down of these stories the same way that my mother taught me. Most of all, it was fun to laugh along again with a character who I had grown up alongside. Returning to this show as a company for the 7th time, and for the second time for me personally, gives us the opportunity to find unique twists to a Chicago holiday season tradition. I will, of course, continue to bring my devised, my physical theater experience to take moments that audiences have loved in past years and to give them new life that make them surprising once again. Not only that, but every new cast of actors brings a new, inspiring version. This show is rooted in the traditions of the traveling troupe, and I know that together this new troupe will make their own beautiful show. We also hope returning audiences can spot the new moments and the new stories in a script that continues to evolve every single year. In returning to Hershel, we continue to prioritize deepening connections between Jewish communities around the city and the country. Whether the productions have been standard runs, touring trunk shows, fully virtual, or like last year, a beautifully realized hybrid production, this show has continuously brought Jewish families together. More than ever, the Jewish people need to connect with each other across state lines and country borders. I will never forget when my mother and I drove across the Rockies when I was 8 years old. At one point along the drive, she pulled over and turned to me and told me that the deep and vast Jewish community that I had grown up in was unique and not to be taken for granted, when there were so many small towns with even smaller Jewish populations. I want to create a show that is not only for the robust Jewish community of Chicago, but also a show for the young children who don't have that Jewish community to lean on. Last year, I will never forget an incredible moment. After the show, the actor playing Hershel came out to greet the audience, and they coincidentally had this flower. This child ran up to them, and they extended the flower to the child, and then these two strangers just had this beautiful moment of connection with each other. They wrapped up, and on her way out, the little girl leaned over to her grandmother and said, "This is the greatest moment of my life." Rabbi Moshe Davis said, "A candle is a small thing, but one candle can light another. And see how its own light increases as a candle gives its flame to the other." In that moment, that young child became her own candle. So please, join us in continuing this story's life and continuing to light the candles of a new generation.